Something caught your eye this morning. A few twigs, really a handful of pine needles and dry grass stems, arranged with the kind of care a child gives a mud pie. It sits on your window ledge, or maybe the corner of your porch rafter, or the lip of a rain gutter you keep meaning to clean. You leaned in. You looked through the bottom of it. You could see daylight through the floor of it, and then you saw them. 2 white eggs, cradled in almost nothing. You held your breath, not in wonder exactly, in worry. That thing looks like the next strong breeze will take it apart and end whatever just started inside it. You know this moment. You've lived it. The nest appeared 3 or 4 days ago. You didn't see it being built. You just noticed it was there one morning, the way you notice a hairline crack in the ceiling or a weed you never planted. A mourning dove pair moved in. Quietly, without asking, without fanfare. You've probably circled back to that window a dozen times since. You check from a distance. Then, a little closer, you watch the parent sitting there, perfectly still, its dark eye fixed on the middle distance, looking less like an animal guarding a nest, and more like someone waiting for a bus that's running late. And now you're standing there, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, typing something like, "Do dove nests fall apart?" Or, "Is it normal for a dove nest to be this thin?" into a search bar. You're worried for them. Hold on to that worry. It's the right place to start. It's just pointed at the wrong thing. Most people read it the way you did the first time you looked. This is a careless nest. A sloppy job. A bird that couldn't be bothered to do it properly. Just a few sticks. No lining, no real architecture, held together by hope and gravity. The internet will back you up. There are whole lists ranking mourning doves among the worst nest builders in North America. People write about them with a tone of affectionate disappointment, the way you'd talk about a friend who shows up to a potluck with a bag of chips and a shrug. The nest looks temporary, so people read it as temporary, as a mistake, as something that won't last. A mourning dove doesn't build a careless nest. She builds a container she never leaves alone. And once you see that, everything you think you're looking at quietly rearranges itself. Let's start with what's in front of you, because the Cornell Lab of Ornithology has documented this part precisely. The nest is built in 2 to 4 days. The male carries twigs to the female while standing on her back. He doesn't hand them over. He just drops them, and she reaches around and works each one into place beneath her. The finished platform is about 8 inches across, a flimsy assembly of pine needles, twigs, and grass stems, unlined, with almost no insulation for the young. It looks like something a strong wind could erase. That reading isn't wrong about the structure. It's just wrong about what the structure is for, because look at what's inside it. The clutch is almost always exactly 2 eggs, not 3. Not 1. 2. Cornell's records show this consistency across thousands of nests. The female lays the first egg, waits roughly a day, then lays the second. The incubation period runs about 14 days. 14 days of sitting on something that looks like it could blow away at any moment. Now let me make you feel those 14 days, because a number on a page won't do it. In a nationwide cooperative study of nearly 7,000 active mourning dove nests, run across 1,979 and 1,980. Researchers tracked daily survival rates. In areas where dove hunting was allowed, the daily survival probability for eggs and nestlings was 95%. In areas where hunting was restricted, it was 95.8%. Those numbers sound reassuring. 95%. That's an A. But survival doesn't get graded once. It gets graded every day. And the days multiply against you. A 95% daily survival rate, applied every single day across the roughly 26-day cycle from first egg to fledging, compounds down to a final fledging rate of about 26% in hunted zones. 26%. Roughly 1 nest in 4 sends a young bird out into the world. So this is the gauntlet. The nest isn't judged in a single moment. It's tested every morning, every afternoon, every night for nearly a month. And the thing you assumed couldn't survive a breeze is out there, surviving it day after day after day. Here is the piece that makes the flimsiness finally make sense. The nest is almost never empty. During the day, the male incubates. At night, the female takes the eggs. They trade off not loosely, not when they feel like it, but with the steadiness of a relay team passing a baton. It cannot afford to drop. One arrives. The other leaves. The eggs are barely uncovered in between. That's not the behavior of a good nest. It's the behavior of a species that chose speed over structure and then paid the difference in presence. A sturdier, deeper nest would buy the parents time away. Time to forage longer, rest more, wander farther. This nest extends no such credit. So the parents don't take time off. They can't. The structure is thin precisely because the attendance is total. And here's the part that made me sit up. For decades, the story stopped at that grim 26% flimsy nest. Long odds, nature being nature. But in 2019, researchers went back to that same historical dataset and reanalyzed it with modern statistical methods, looking at 707 nests. Their finding, overall, nest survival sat somewhere around 44 to 48%. Read that again. Close to a coin flip, squarely in the range of plenty of songbirds that build deep, sturdy, woven cups you'd trust to hold a marble. So the flimsiness isn't a failure of design. It increasingly looks like the design. A mourning dove can attempt up to 6 broods in a single breeding season, more than almost any other bird on the continent, across a season that runs from March into September. To pull that off, she cannot spend a week engineering a fortress. A minimal nest, thrown together in 2 to 4 days, is the trade-off that makes 6 attempts physically possible. I'll be honest about that last connection. The flimsiness as a deliberate speed trade-off is my reading of the evidence, not a single proven study. But the pieces fit, and they fit cleanly. The architecture protecting those 2 eggs was never the twigs. It's the fact that 2 parents are cycling through that nest around the clock, every day, for 2 weeks straight. The nest isn't a structure, it's a container that is never, ever left alone. Think about what that schedule costs each bird. The male spends his daylight hours on that ledge, that gutter, that rafter exposed, visible, holding still, while the whole world moves past him. The female does the same through the dark. They're spending daylight, feeding chances, sleep, the simple safety of being able to leave. Every hour on the nest is an hour not foraging, not resting, not watching the sky for the things that hunt them, too. And they spend it on a clutch that, by the numbers, has a coin flip's chance. They don't know the odds. They just keep showing up. Now, think about why your window ledge, of all the places in the world, a mourning dove nest, is deliberately simple and deliberately open. Your ledge is close to food. It's elevated. It has overhead cover from your roof, and it's near you. And you, right now, are not a predator. You're a witness. But here is something most people never hear, and it's the part I most want you to carry away. Westmoreland and Best, in 1985, ran a controlled experiment. 51 nests where the adults were deliberately flushed every 3 days against 50 nests checked passively, from a distance without disturbing the birds. The disturbed nests had significantly lower survival, and the effect was strongest during incubation, exactly the stage your ledge is in right now. The likely mechanism: a parent that bursts off the nest in a panic draws a predator's eye straight to a spot that would otherwise have gone unnoticed, which means the biggest threat to the 2 eggs on your windowsill might not be the hawk turning circles overhead. It might be the kind, curious, well-meaning human who keeps leaning in to check that everything's okay. The checking is the danger. Your concern, expressed up close, is the predator's tip-off. You came to this video worried that a fragile thing was in danger. What the biology shows is that the fragility was never the real story. The nest was never meant to stand on its own. It was built from the first twig to be held by 2 birds in shifts, without a single hour of neglect, for as long as it takes. Across cultures, the mourning dove carries something heavier than its name lets on. In some traditions, it's a messenger, not of grief, but of someone still present, still watching, still part of the story being told. And the dove on your ledge isn't mourning anything. She's sitting on 2 futures, one shift at a time, with a patience that has no relationship to the flimsiness of the thing beneath her. The biology doesn't kill that meaning. It gives it a skeleton to stand on. So look at your window ledge one more time. That nest you filed away as a mistake is actually a system. 2 eggs, 2 parents. A handoff schedule precise enough to make a Swiss watch look casual. 14 days of unbroken shifts. And the whole thing held together by presence, not by pine needles. You didn't stumble onto a bird too lazy to build properly. You stumbled onto two lives being guarded with a discipline that has nothing to do with how the nest looks and everything to do with how faithfully the parents keep showing up. So tomorrow morning, stand near your window. Don't approach. Don't lean in. Don't check. Just watch and see whether the bird on the nest at dawn is the same, one that's there by noon. If you catch that handoff, that quiet swap of one parent for the other, you've just watched the entire story compressed into a single moment. And now that you know what your leaning in can cost, the kindest thing your worry can do is keep its distance. If you've got a nest story of your own, a dove, a wren, anything that showed up in your yard and changed the way you see the place, leave it below. I read every one. And sometimes a story someone leaves down there becomes the next video. She guards the eggs in silence now, but the moment they hatch, she begins to speak to them, low, and only to them. That's the next thing she trusts.